Another year, another end of the year awards ceremony. This year I've dubbed the very original until I come up with something better. Golden Nug for the good shit, and for the bad, the Reggie Award. So yeah, let's do the worst first because it's more fun. So when it comes to like bad games, I talked about this last year where like there's a lot of obvious shit that came out this year. Like a lot of the DEI slop, like Concord, of course, and that Dustborn game. Even though it does have like a big girl in it, which I appreciated. She has like vitiligo for some weird reason. I don't know what the fuck. A weird ass game. So very obvious shit like that isn't in my top 5 worst. So yeah, honestly, my 5th worst game was really tough because there's like about 3 games I wanted to put on here. I wanted to put Tekken 8 because of the state that it launched in, how like fucking like brain dead and aggressive of a game it's become, and how a lot of people didn't like the ranked mode, like the one and done and shit. And to me, the biggest issue is like just a really lame cast, and the DLC has been shitty. So I wanted to put Tekken 8 on there for that, but it's still Tekken, so that saves it from being one of the worst. One of the 5 worst. Anyway. And the other game I wanted to put was Dragon's Dogma 2. Because it was, like I said, it's kind of just, it's a competent game, but it's very, from what I've seen, it's kind of boring and underwhelming from what people thought it was going to be, what I thought it was going to be, because I wanted to get it. And it's really just a rehash of the original, which is an old-ass fucking game that I tried out this year, so. And they filled it with, like, microtransactions and shit, so Capcom's hands aren't completely clean lately. So that leaves us to the real 5th worst. And to me, the 5th worst was fucking Silent Hill 2 remake, dude. Like, everyone was so ready to, like, dunk on the fucking I don't know, like how they would refer to like right-wing gamers or like the chuds or whatever. Because when it came out, you know, people were into it and it was getting good reviews and shit. And they're like, oh, Angela's not so bad. What do you want, a SA victim? Or whatever the fuck, to like be hot? No, just not look like a fucking man. And then add more than just like fetch quests and shit from what I played. It would have been cool if there's like new enemies or something interesting. I know they added a new like little area because I read a review about it, and apparently it doesn't really add a whole lot to the game. So for that, paying good money. I didn't pay the full price, of course. But even at that, but it's only the 5th worst because it is a pretty decent looking game, except for everyone's faces. And I guess like I said, it's just cool to have Silent Hill and nice graphics, I guess. People are easily pleased these days. So then 4th would be fucking Star Wars Outlaws. I played it for a little while, and I can see like, well, Well, for one, everyone was coping real hard when they bought this shit because they knew it sucked. But like, it's another game where like it has really impressive environments. It's like these DEI devs, all they know how to do is code really nice environments and shit. But they can't make a story that's worthwhile. Oh, and that chick's face. To me, she looks like a fucking Dark Crystal character. Her face is all jacked up. But yeah, I would say the reason it's only fourth worst is because if you like Star Wars, it's still cool to be in a Star Wars game, you know, playing Star Wars in that world. And there are like, you know, characters from the movies in it, Lando and Jabba and shit. So it gets a little credit for at least being in a good timeline, a good spot in the timeline. So third, Dragon Age. What was that shit called? The Veilguard. They changed it from Dreadwolf or some shit like that. I wonder what the game was like at that point. But yeah, dude. The real DEI self-insert slop. All the clips on Twitter with like them having the awkward conversations with mom and dad at the holidays and shit. About their fucking gender and shit. They made all the old characters look ugly when they came in at the end and shit. But yeah, it's pretty cringy. I would say the reason it's only the third worst is because like I'm sure the gameplay gets very like boring and repetitive. But it is functional. And I can imagine some people like had a little bit of fun with the combat. Because like I said, the name change implies that like there were still some good people working on it very early on in development. So that's why it's only the third worst. The next two, these two motherfuckers. So I kind of struggled with the second one just because even though they delayed it for so long, I don't know how anticipated Skull and Bones was. Like, I kind of wanted to play it just because I liked For Honor. So I thought it was going to have like some kind of fun, like some laughs in the multiplayer aspect. But I played the beta, which means I pretty much played the whole game. And all you do is fucking walk around a little island and get in the boat and do fucking naval battles that aren't as good as they are in Assassin's Creed 4. And considering the fact that the Ubisoft guy said it was the first quadruple A game in history, and they shit about like you should get used to not owning your games and shit. And also considering how much they spent on it, delaying it for so long. If you spent money on this shit, that was almost as instant of a regret as the next game. But yeah, Skull and Bones. What the fuck? I can't imagine a lot of people actually did buy that game though. Just like Ubisoft hard-ons. People with hard-ons for Ubisoft and like content creators and shit. And yeah, number one, the most regrettable purchase ever, but like it had to be done because Batman's in it. Fucking Suicide Squad, dude. And he's the best part because you get the little segment where you go through the Arkham Museum or whatever the fuck. But yeah, dude, I remember when they showed the preview of the game before it came out, and they showed the gameplay, and it was like this little 25 snippet of gameplay, and then you play the game and you realize that's like the whole fucking game. And then it's like also like just woke and has these cringy characters and shit. Fucking Harley Quinn's voice like just makes your ears fucking bleed, dude. I hated it. And then she gets to fucking shoot Batman at the end. That was like the ultimate icing on the cake. Even though it did have that one cool sequence with King Shark where he gets the Green Lantern ring. Like there's elements of about Suicide Squad where there was some effort or some decent ideas. Like, I mean the game is ugly, but it's mostly ugly because of its art style. Technically it has like good graphics. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, dude. Boomerang whips his dick out and pees on, what is he, pees on Flash or some shit. And like Green Lantern, Jon Stewart's like racist against fucking Deadshot and shit. Yeah, that game was just a fucking disaster. Oh, and then the DLC, the fucking Asian Mrs. Freeze and Deadshot's daughter. Shit's awful. And then they wait till the end to release Deathstroke after everyone's just buried the game forever. Buried with E.T. on a tar. That shit's better. That's why. So yeah, as far as my favorite games of the year, or the best games of the year, I think it's right what a lot of people have said is like a lot of the releases this year, they would be kind of like mid in a lot of other years, but I think there's still some pretty solid releases. And I think especially like graphically there were still some games that like came out and impressed. So like, and that's what they think everyone, the general public fucking cares about is good graphics. So we're finally getting to the point where like, yeah, there's some games that actually look pretty fucking good and are impressive visually. So yeah, my fifth favorite, it kind of took me a little bit. There were some good games that came out, like or at least fun ones, like Power World early in the year, and I really liked that Alone in the Dark game. That shit was a lot better than Silent Hill 2, I thought. And yeah, like I was saying, the worst list, as much shit as you could give Tekken Me, it's still a pretty good game. So that could definitely be the fifth. And also, like, I thought about putting Marvel Rivals fifth because it is really fun. I like playing it. But I docked it for being like kind of just an Overwatch one. But my fifth game is Warhammer Space Marine 2, which, you know, people said it was like a remake of the first one, and I played a little bit of the first one too, and yeah, it kind of is. I'll dock it. It's fifth because to me it kind of felt like it wasn't different enough from the original game, and like in the same amount of time that I played, like there was a little bit more variety in the first one. But in general, like both games feel like they're kind of repetitive. But like I said, the fifth one has some, well, because it's Warhammer, has really awesome art style to it, so and it's nice to look at. It feels like if they just, I know people don't like saying it, but like more Souls-like in a way, at least with enemy variety and like, you know, level structure and fighting bosses. Like I think the next Space Marine game could be like a really special one. But yeah, I put 5. Also, it gets points for having like the whole multiplayer mode, which I didn't get to try, but it looks pretty cool. And there hasn't been too many complaints about it, other than like progression. So my fourth favorite game, I put it on here because I was like really surprised by how fun it was to play Slitterhead. When I saw the trailer for it at the what was it, Summer Games Fest? I was like, oh shit, looks like, the true Silent Hill sequel. And it's pretty cool. I like how all the Japanese people look. They have like a funny look to them. But the enemies are cool, and the combat is kind of interesting because it's kind of like an action game mixed with For Honor combat. And it definitely has that like Silent Hill style to it. So I really enjoyed what I played of it. Hopefully it gets. There was some love for it when it came out on Twitter that I saw. But yeah, hopefully it sold pretty well. Because I think it was a cool experience. A million times better than Silent Hill 2 Remake. For sure. So third best game, I'm going to give it to Stellar Blade. Because, like I said, it's a really pretty game. And it's fun to play. But like, doesn't break new ground or anything like that. And I wish you even had like a little more personality. Cause like a character like 2B, when you look at her visually, it's very memorable. And I just don't think Eve's design is, she's super hot, but it's not like very memorable or anything like that. But it is a cool game. Easily top 3 game of the year. But it is kind of like an 8, a really nice looking game. Second best game, I guess I'll give it to fucking Astrobot. It was pretty fun. But yeah, like I said, it's just the characters kind of generic. And yeah, even though you can get little different outfits from them. And plus I don't have like that super, I'm pretty old now. I don't have that super nostalgia for like a lot of the early Sonic stuff or whatever. So, but it is fun to play. It's pretty cool. But it's just derivative. And then yeah, I guess best game, it's gotta be Wukong, right? It's I think just from an art style perspective, like the world it puts you in, and the animations, I think it's really visually pretty awesome to watch, and it's fun to play. It's not like I'm glad it's not like a Souls game. It's more action oriented, like God of War. And yeah, it's fun. It's just a fun game. It's a high 8, almost a 9, I guess. I don't know, maybe a 9. I haven't played a ton of it, but like, it is a fabled story, legendary story. So if it lives up to that, then it's kind of like a 9. But for sure, I would say it's the Golden Nug game of the year. Or the strain of the year, whatever the fuck. Try to tie it in.